The winter of 1945. The war in Europe is grinding towards its bloody, bitter end. But Germany isn't going down without a fight. In a last-ditch effort, their forces launch a ferocious assault in a region of northeastern France called the Colmar Pocket, trying to shatter the American lines. It's a nightmare of snow, steel, and desperation, where entire companies are being wiped out in frozen forests. Holding a vital road against this onslaught is a single exhausted American company. They're freezing, outnumbered, and their numbers are shrinking by the hour. Their situation is beyond desperate. In their path is a 19-year-old first lieutenant. By any measure, he's just a kid. His name is Audie Murphy. What he does next won't just save his men. It'll become one of the most legendary acts of pure guts in military history. This is the story of how one soldier stood against impossible odds, held off an entire German attack, and turned the tide of a battle with sheer, unbelievable courage. The unlikely hero. To understand what happened on that frozen battlefield, you have to understand the kid who made it happen. Audie Leon Murphy was born into grinding poverty in rural Texas, the son of sharecroppers. He was one of 12 children in a family that knew hunger all too well. His father deserted the family, and his mother died when he was just a teen. Murphy had to drop out of 5th grade to pick cotton and hunt small game, just to help feed his younger siblings. He became a crack shot, not for sport, but for survival. When Pearl Harbor was attacked, Murphy, a small, underweight 16-year-old, tried to enlist. He got turned down flat by the Marines, the Navy, and even the Army. At 5'5" and barely over 100 pounds, he just didn't look the part of a soldier. But he refused to take no for an answer. He had his sister help fake his birth certificate to make him look 18. And in 1942, the Army finally accepted him. They wanted to make him a cook. Murphy wasn't having it. He insisted on a combat role, a decision that would change everything. Shipped to the 3rd Infantry Division, he fought across North Africa, Sicily, and Italy. Despite his small size, he was a natural and ferocious soldier. He earned promotions and medals for bravery at a staggering rate, quickly rising from a private to a staff sergeant. He was wounded multiple times, battled malaria, and saw more combat as a teenager than most soldiers see in a lifetime. By January 1945, through pure grit and the brutal toll of war, he'd received a battlefield commission and was now in command of Company B of the 5th Infantry Regiment. The Colmar Pocket, in late January 1945, Company B was on the front lines of one of the war's most brutal final acts, the battle for the Colmar Pocket. Hitler had ordered his forces to hold this last German position on the west bank of the Rhine River at all costs. The fighting was savage. The weather was even worse, with deep snow and brutal freezing temperatures. Murphy's company, which started with over 100 men, had been torn apart. Now there were just 18 soldiers left standing, plus their officers and 2 M10 tank destroyers. Their orders were to hold a critical road near the village of Holzwehr to stop German forces from cutting off the American advance. Exhausted and low on supplies, they dug into the frozen ground at the edge of a forest, staring out at a wide-open, snow-covered field. On the morning of January 26, promised reinforcements were delayed. As the men waited, Murphy felt that familiar knot in his stomach that told him something was wrong. Drifting out of the snow and fog like ghosts. 6 heavy panzer tanks and around 250 German infantry in white camouflage advancing straight for them. Murphy's tiny freezing company was standing directly in the path of a German battalion. The odds weren't just long. They were impossible. The stand as the German tanks and infantry closed in, Murphy looked at his handful of men. He knew they didn't stand a chance out in the open. His first thought was for them. He ordered his men to fall back to a safer position in the trees, while he stayed forward to direct artillery fire. Using his field telephone, he started calling in coordinates, shouting over the deafening roar of battle. German shells ripped through the trees. One of the American M10 tank destroyers took a direct hit and exploded. The second was also hit, and its crew was forced to abandon it as it caught fire. Just like that, Murphy's armored support was gone. His position was collapsing. The German infantry, sensing victory, surged forward. Murphy kept firing his M1 carbine until his ammo ran out. His men were retreating. The enemy was closing in. And right then, Murphy made a choice that sounds like pure insanity. He saw the burning M10 steel coffin packed with fuel and ammunition, ready to blow at any second. Most people would see a death trap. Murphy saw his only chance. He sprinted towards it and climbed onto the turret. Ignoring the flames licking at his feet and the enemy bullets hammering the hull, he grabbed the vehicle's .50 caliber machine gun. Alone, exposed, standing on a literal ticking time bomb. Audie Murphy turned that powerful weapon on the advancing German infantry. For the next hour, he became a one-man army. The heavy machine gun tore through the waves of German soldiers. He was a single, clear target, and the Germans threw everything they had at him. From three sides, they hammered the burning vehicle with machine gun, rifle, and tank fire. Shrapnel from an exploding shell tore into his leg, but he refused to stop. Over the radio, a frantic officer at headquarters asked how close the enemy was. He held his ground, firing relentlessly, cutting down soldier after soldier. He shattered their formations, beat back their charges, and forced the German tanks, now without infantry support, to hesitate and retreat. An eyewitness later called it the greatest display of guts and courage I have ever seen. The German assault, which should have steamrolled the small American company, was ground to a halt by the fire of a single determined soldier. The aftermath he only stopped when the machine gun ran dry. Limping and bleeding, Murphy climbed off the tank destroyer just moments before it exploded. He had single-handedly killed or wounded an estimated 50 German soldiers, completely breaking their attack. But he wasn't done. Ignoring his own wound, he refused medical care. Instead, he gathered his men, who had watched in absolute awe, and organized a counterattack. Leading from the front, he pushed the remaining German forces back, securing the position and saving his company. For his unbelievable actions that day, First Lieutenant Audie Murphy was awarded the Medal of Honor, the nation's highest award for valor. The official citation praised his indomitable courage and his refusal to give an inch of ground. By the war's end, at just 19 years old, he had become the most decorated American soldier of World War II. Audie Murphy came home a national hero. His face was on the cover of Life magazine. The legendary actor James Cagney saw it, invited him to Hollywood, and Murphy would go on to star in over 40 films, including the 1955 classic To Hell and Back, where he played himself. But the war never truly left him. Murphy suffered terribly from what we now call post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD. He battled insomnia and nightmares, so bad he had to sleep with a loaded pistol under his pillow. At a time when nobody talked about this, when it was a source of shame, Murphy spoke openly about his battle fatigue, becoming one of the first and most important public advocates for veterans' mental health. His courage didn't end on the battlefield. It continued in his fight to bring the invisible wounds of war into the light. Audie Murphy died tragically in a plane crash in 1971 at the age of 45. He is buried at Arlington National Cemetery, where his grave is still one of the most visited. The story of his stand at Holtzwihr is more than just a tale of heroism. It's a testament to the extraordinary things an ordinary person can do when pushed to the absolute limit. It reminds us that real courage isn't the absence of fear, but the will to act in spite of it. Audie Murphy, the small, unassuming boy from Texas, proved that the size of a soldier is not measured by his height, but by the depth of his heart. Audie Murphy's story is one of countless acts of incredible bravery from that generation. What are your thoughts on his legendary stand? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to hear more stories of remarkable military heroes, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.